When's the last time the NFL had someone in the face of the league conversation that wasn't a quarterback?
Interesting.
Because I think he's got a shot at it. And I understand Jacksonville part hurts him because as much as I love Duval, I understand they're not a major market. But every single piece of PR, and all of it's been like unearned, or what do you call that? Where you don't
earned PR.
Where they don't pay for it.
Yeah, earned media.
PR? Okay, earned media.
Thank
you, KW. Even the little viral moment of him and the nice lady on the airplane this weekend, like it's just, none of it seems fake, none of it seems forced, and he just seems awesome. And I do believe that he is going to, with regularity, be on shows like this where it's like, well, for the first time in 78 years, we had a football player have 2 pass deflections, 60 yards receiving, and a punt return. And so I think he's so special and got such a good disposition. That's kind of my takeaway.
I do think he has a chance to be one of the faces of the league because he'll go both ways. He might go both ways. I do also think he has to be great at one of the ways.
Sure.
Like if he's just a productive, solid receiver and DB, it'll be big initially, but it'll fade away. It'll be like, oh, this is great that he's doing both. But if he's a phenomenal or, great receiver and a good defensive back, then I think he can be in that conversation.
This is what jumped out to me about this quote. If Abdul Carter, who everybody thinks is going to be amazing, was talking to New York media, bro, he's like, the defense is pretty easy. I just got to get, the snap count. We'd be like, what? You're first day?
No, that's true.
But Travis says, and he's not being cocky. He's just like, just the way it is. I'm being honest with you guys. The defense is pretty easy. I just need to get everything figured out. But I feel like he's a sure bet to be a superstar. Maybe I'm being...
I agree with you. That I think he is... So many of the things, and you guys know, nobody loves a rivals rating more than me.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1 kid in high school, overachieved at every level, and then it's like we found out, maybe I was late to this party, I apologize, like, oh, he was an academic All-American.
Yeah, just
like all of this stuff, I just love the kid, and luckily he's got a great quarterback throwing him the ball.
Okay, meanwhile, in Cleveland, Travis's old Colorado teammate, Shedeur Sanders, wowed, at least the internet, with some nice throws. He was on rookie camp with Dylan Gabriel. Shedeur is asked about proving people wrong. Brew, your reaction.
When I first saw the quote, it's a great soundbite. And that's what I thought. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a great soundbite. But it's basically the same thing. It's semantics. But then watching him and watching the interview, something else struck me. He has the unusual ability, I think, from what he's saying and his demeanor and all that, to not care at all about what people and society, the media, whatever, says about him. That's what he comes off like. Because, again, I would think most people, you put up a front, but everybody thought you were going in the first round, if not in the top 10. And you fell all the way to 5th. And his vibrancy, his personality, his confidence doesn't seem the least bit shaken. Like he seemed, maybe he would, if he was drafted high in first round, I don't know, would he have done all the legendary stuff and been cocky? Maybe, but I feel like I can say he would have pretty much been acting the same way had he even been drafted in the first round. But I think it'll help him if he really does have that. I like the way he said it. They don't take up any of my mental space. If he really has that, then I think he's actually going to be really good.
You want to go, KW?
Well, I have a question on if he's going to get not necessarily a fair shot, but when is he going to get the opportunity to play, basically? So it's always like, if I hired you for the job, at my whatever paper.
When I was trying to get the job for you, you kicked me out of your office 10 years ago.
So I have a paper company and I hired you and Brew.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I hired you and I was like, you're my guy, and I also hired Brew. But Brew is doing a better job than you. is it a bad look for me not to rock with you?
Well, I think
Like,
you gave the wrong example. You're the boss, you hired me, and then your boss came to you and like, hey, hire my buddy too. And then, but you picked me, your boss picked
is
through,
it fair?
and then you're
Is it a bad
incentivized
reflection on the decision making of the GM if Dillon Gabriel doesn't get all the
I do think
Shedeur?
that it really matters in that regard whether or not Mangini's guess is correct or not. Did the Browns see Shedeur fall to the 5th round and the GM and head coach, Stefanski and, God, I can't remember names today. Andrew Berry, thank you. Say, guys, this is great value. In fact, it's good enough value. Let's move up to get him. Like, hey, or was it walking into the draft room with Jimmy Haslam? He's like, hey, draft Shedeur Sanders. It's because if the coach and GM were in charge of both picks, I do not think they care who wins the job. I do not. If either guy becomes even the 20th best starting quarterback in the league, that is such massive value for a 3rd or a 5th round pick. It is a grand slam home run draft pick. The math's a little different, but it's different in both directions if the owner made you do it. Mm-hmm. One is you don't get the credit. The other is you're probably, though, ties will go to that guy. I would think that
guy that the owner.
Yeah, because it's like the owner wanted me to pick him. He's going to want me to play him.
Well, and also because he's a celebrity already, he's the son of a great Deion Sanders, the tie should go to him.
Why?
Like, because if they're the same, if they're both like, you know what, they're both look good.
Financial upside from him.
It just makes more sense. I hear what you guys are saying, and I think that's logical. I just hope that's not the case. And I get it. Human beings do it, and they do it in the pros, right? Like, we know Belichick didn't get a look in Atlanta for the most part because they were like, we're going to save our jobs. Mm-hmm. We don't want to bring him in. So, but I just hope that is not the case. And I'm not saying he should get a pass, but I'm saying if Shedeur is clearly better than Dillon Gabriel, then they cannot let that petty stuff stop them from playing.
So, my reaction to a couple things here, if I may. First one is, every time Shedeur does media, I'm more surprised he did so poorly in these interviews, pre-draft.
Then that's the conspiracy, the theory that he was purposely tanking
right? Which is,
but I don't know if that's been actually reported.
To me, that's not a conspiracy theory as much as it is like Occam's razor. Like, it's the most logical explanation. I remember Super Bowl Radio Row week. Kevin Clark, who does a great job, he did an interview with Shedeur and then made a point to tweet out. He was like, here's a picture from afar of Shedeur Sanders walking around and shaking the hand of all of our camera guys for my podcast. I've been doing this for 4 years or whatever. Literally no one's ever done it. Every lead-up thing about Shedeur prior to the draft interview window was glowing about him. Right. You know what I mean? I thought he had one unfortunate tweet about a former teammate one time in Colorado, like his junior year. And aside from that, it was like, man, for a guy who's been in the spotlight, he's handled this all really well. He now has handled the draft stuff. You know what I mean?
Perfectly.
I think really well. I think there was the suitcase full of money at the party. I was like, that's going to obviously rub some people the wrong way. But there's nothing objectively wrong. You know what I mean? There's wrong with that. So
investment-wise.
Yeah, sure. T-bills. And so there's that piece of it, Brew. The other piece of it is this. Even though I was not nearly as high on Shedeur as Brew, I believe he's better than Dillon Gabriel. And I think, according to the Browns reporters, he played better than him in rookie minicamp. And I think there are some people in this building that might be better than Kenny Pickett. So I think he has a really good chance to earn the backup job to Flacco, which if in 2025 you are Joe Flacco's backup, that means in 2025 at some point you'll be a starter. And so I do think it was really sneaky. These 3 days were sneaky really important because Gabriel was ahead. And if the reports coming out of Browns minicamp is, man, Shedeur is all over the place and Gabriel's super sharp, then I think maybe you start behind going into mini camp and everything. It's too hard to make up. I think he can make up the ground, and I think he can break camp as the backup quarterback, which would be a great result for him. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.